So again, welcome to my MCSE series. So the last session we discussed about the installation of Windows Server 2016, and we discussed about the requirement, what editions we have. We even talked about the licensing, and we talk about the edition that is given from the Microsoft. Okay, so that was again one of the introduction class for MCSE. Now, as I told you, before we start the main MCSE topic, like before we get to Active Directory or DNS and all those main topics. So before we get to the main MCSE part, so as a promise, I'm going to show you some kind of basic fundamental for networking. Okay. So in today's session, we'll be discussing about the network. Okay. So basically, whatever the thing that you learn in networking, okay. So if you want to start a career in networking, it may be like you want to go virtualization, maybe you want to go with the Cisco, Juniper, or you want to make your career on security path. So that means like doesn't matter when you want to do anything in networking. So the complete networking is based on network. Okay. So last time, as I have given introduction, when you say like network, automatically there are many names come to our mind. So one of the category network we have LAN, we also have WAN, a wide area network, local area network, and we also have something called storage area network. Okay. Apart from that, we also have MAN, metropolitan network. We also have PAN. So like we have many categories in network. Okay. So what was the syllabus that I'm going to cover in MCSE? So the complete MCSE syllabus will be discussing about the technology we have on LAN, a local area network. Okay. So basically, like normally we have many questions like how we make a network. If you want to start making network, so what devices are mandatory? What devices you need actually? Okay. And if you connect a group of machine together, so in that group of machine, what kind of connectivity you need, as well as how do we connect all the machine together? Shall I connect all the machine to the switch, or I have to connect to the server? And shall I need a router, or what shall I need like a firewall here? So basically, like what actually we need to create a network. Okay. So in today's session, I'm going to show you like what is actually a network, how to create a network. In network, what devices are mandatory, what devices are optional, as well as maximum today we are going to focus on uh, all the basic part today. Okay. So before we start, again, as I told you, like network, first of all, it is a very common word. It's like a general word where you see all the time in our day-to-day life. But in networking, network means interconnection of devices. Okay? So if you connect two or more devices together, we represent a group of machine when you connect a group of devices together, we represent that concept as a network. Okay. In the network, maybe you have 10 to 20 machines. Network, maybe you can have 100 to 200 devices. On the network, you may have thousands of devices. So when you combine all a group of devices together, we represent as a network. Example. So from the market, I purchase switch, and on the top of switch, I can connect some group of machines. So I have a computer here. I can have another computer. I can have another computer. Like this, I can connect group of computer together. I can make my network. So the next question comes here, like why we connect all the machine together? What is the actual purpose of creating network? Okay. So what is the benefit? If you are connecting two or more devices, if I'm connecting all the machines, if I'm connecting all the devices together, so what is the actual advantage? What actually we are going to configure here, and with the help of this network, what what we are going to take the benefit. So basically, network we use for many reasons. Okay. In short, I can say whatever the technology that you will see in a market. Okay. It may be like Facebook. It may be, the YouTube. It may be like WhatsApp. Whatever the technology comes to you, the complete technology is based on the network. Okay. So you have a mobile, and if you just remove internet from the mobile, so what remains? Okay. So it becomes like a dummy device. Okay. So when you say internet again, it is one of the concept of network. So internet is again nothing but it's a network. Okay. So if you connect your device on network, like multiple technology that comes to you. Okay. So it may be like, you can say like you can connect to anywhere. Either you can connect remotely to manage your devices, or you can able to connect remotely to perform your task, or you can able to download certain thing. You can able to send something. You can able to access some website. You can able to send. You can able to transfer the money. Everything that you try to access over internet. So internet again, it is one kind of networking. Okay. So in coming session, I'm going to show you in detail like what technology we have on the internet. So basically, here simple. I want to explain here what is the actual purpose of network here. Okay. So if you connect two or more devices together, we represent as a network. Okay. So what is the reason like why I'm connecting all the devices? What's the benefit? Okay. So one of the things always come to our mind. Network we say network we use for sharing the data, sharing the resources. Okay. We have something called like sharing. Okay. So here, what do you mean by like sharing here? Sharing in the sense, let's say I have a switch. On the top of switch, I connected all group of machines together. Maybe like I have different cabins, and every cabin I connected a device to perform my different tasks. Maybe somebody log in here, he can use an application. Somebody log into this machine, he's doing his work there. So if each and every person is doing certain tasks on a machine, and all the computers connected on a network. Okay. After some time, now there is a requirement to have a printer. Okay? I want a printer here so that the people whatever available here they can able to take a print. Okay, but for me it is not possible to have a separate printer. Okay, so what I can do here, so instead of purchasing multiple printers, instead of connecting a separate printer to each and every device, so at least from the market I go and I connect one printer, and this printer I'll be connecting to this particular device. Okay, so the computer where I connected a printer, maybe let's say the name of the machine is like PC5. So for me, it is not compulsory. It is not all the time possible to manually sit on a computer, manually open and manually access that printer. Okay, so if that machine is connected on network, so this printer I can use from anywhere. I can access from PC1. I can connect from PC2. I can connect from PC3. I can connect from anywhere. Okay, so this printer I can able to access from anywhere in a network. This is the actual purpose of network. Okay, so something available in one device, and from that, instead of accessing data, now the same thing you can access over the network by sitting on other device. Okay. Now apart from that, even now we talk about some data. Let's say I have my important pictures. Okay. So pictures means I downloaded my project pictures, and I want these pictures to be accessed from different devices. Okay. So for me, all the time, as for like, if you want to access the print picture, then you have to manually sit, manually open a partition, manually open a drive, then open a folder, then access all your pictures. Now, if this machine is connected on network, what I can do simply, I'm going to share this picture. And if I go anywhere on network, so I can use this picture from anywhere. Somebody can access from PC1, somebody can access from PC5, somebody can access from PC2. Everywhere, the data will be accessed. Okay. So in short, I'm saying here, what is a network? Okay. Network is nothing but a group of computers and other connecting devices. So network doesn't mean like only computers. Apart from the computers, we also require some devices. Okay. Now, network we actually use for accessing information. Okay, so information, it is like a small word, but it's like an ocean. Everything comes here. Okay, now if you have a computer and if you want to send email, you know how the email sends. Okay, so if you connect your computer on a network, now you can able to send email. If your machine on internet, you can also receive email. You can access the website. You can able to access uh, certain devices. You can able to access a lot of information based on the network. You can even download. You can access your pictures. Everything is possible if your device is on the network. not only we access information, we can also access the resources. Okay. So resources doesn't mean like only printer. Now, if I'm working in a company, so all the time, whatever the task which I perform, so in a company, like we'll be having separate server room where all the devices are connected. And even though I'm an admin, I don't have permission to go all the time inside the server room and to access all the devices physically by sitting on that particular server room. Okay. Now, somewhere as an admin, I'll be having a cabin, and in that cabin, you will be having your device. Maybe you will be having a laptop, you have your desktop. Over the network, I can access my router. Over the network, I can access my server. Over the network, I can able to configure the printer. Over the network, I can able to configure the firewall. So each and every device that I'm going to manage, that I'm going to connect only with the help of this network. If there is no network, now you cannot, I can say here, there is nothing without network. Each and every technology depends on the network. And we create a network only for some kind of technology should be available for the people. Okay. So this is a small introduction for the network. Okay. The next main important thing comes to our mind is like, how do we make a network? So if you want to start your company, or maybe I want to make a network in home, or maybe like I want to start a small company or big company, or it may be like when you want to start any kind of network, so what devices are actually need? Okay. Now, is it compulsory to have a computer? Is it compulsory to have different devices? Okay. So now we'll try to discuss here. Okay. So some requirements I'll say here, there will be some requirements which I can say mandatory requirements. There are some requirements we can even say are optional. Means based on the requirement, if you want, you can connect, or based on the requirement, if you don't want, you don't connect. Okay. So these are the requirements we can say. This is common. Means these are the mandatory requirements. There is no network without computers, without operating system, without NIC card, without cables, without protocols, even without switch and hub. Apart from this, we also have some other requirements. What do you need else? So anyone can guess? Apart from this, what we need? On the network, what we need else? Like apart from computers, apart from NIC card, cables. Now here I'm talking about the devices. Okay. So apart from computers, apart from operating system, NIC card, cables, switch and hub, so what other devices we need? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see here. Now, as I told you, like some of the requirements we say optional. Optional means like if you want, you connect. When the requirement comes. Okay. If there is no requirement, only with these devices also you can make a network. So where you can make that network, I'll show you. Okay. Now, one of the requirements to have a network, we have something called servers. Okay. On the network, we also need routers. Okay. On the network, we also require firewalls. On the network, we also require, as somebody says, like printer. That is good. Printer also we need. We also require IP phone. We also need something called a scanner. Like this, we can have many things. Okay. So there are some devices we have seen in our day-to-day. There are some devices we have seen in our day-to-day life, but even there are some devices we never seen in our personal life, but you will see in company network. Okay. Like when I say IP phone, maybe most of the time we see like what is this IP phone? We have like a smartphone. We heard about like BSNL. We heard about like Tata phone. But what is this IP phone? Okay. So this is one of the device where in a company Nowadays, like previously, what happened? So in a company previously, like when you have a cabin, on a top of cabin you will see previously only computer where the user can do each and every task. Okay? But apart from computer, in today's time, what they have now, they also have some kind of mobile device here, where the people can call. We have some kind of video calling. We can also have voice calling. So freely in a company, I have a setup so that I can call anybody video. Freely I can call to anybody. So there will be some kind of configuration. So these IP phones you may have from Cisco, from maybe Juniper, from Huawei. So there will be a multiple company that manufactures these devices. Okay, and the reason for connecting to have a different technology here. Like maybe I can anybody call in a company. Maybe I can have video call or voice call, all the things. Okay? So one of the requirements, we also need a server. We also require routers. We also require firewalls, printers, all the things. But this requirement, I'm saying optional. Optional means when the requirement comes, we can connect. So without server also, I can have a network. Even again, so I cannot say here. Let's say if I want to make a network, maybe from the market I purchase 10 machines. I can connect all the 10 machines to switch, and I can make a network. So here I don't require a server. I don't require a router. I don't require even a printer. So here even I cannot say unless until I connect one printer on network, there is no network concept. No. So without printer also there is a network. Without scanner also you can have a network. So without this there is a possibility, but without this there is no possibility. Why? Because without computers there is no meaning of network. Whatever the task we do, that is a mandatory device. We also have like operating system, NICs. So these are the mandatory parts. Okay. Now in detail we try to discuss like what is computer. So the first requirement is we need computers. So how many computers we need? Okay. So minimum at least we require two computers. So to create a network, at least we need to have minimum two computers. So if you have two computers, what I can do now, I have one machine, I have another machine. Now between these two computers, I can connect a cable, I can make a network. So the reason like why I'm making a network of two machines, maybe for my practice, or maybe like I have some data and I don't have any external device. Maybe I don't have like pen drive. I don't have my external hard disk. So I want to copy the data of these machines to these computers. So in that time, what I can do, I can just connect one simple cable and I can configure some kind of IP. Then I can able to share the data over the network. I can access all my information. So whatever the data which is available here, I can copy all the data from this machine. I can keep here. Okay. So in coming classes, practically we are going to see this, like how we can share the data and how the data access over the network. Okay. So similarly, so the first requirement is we need computers. Okay. And computer is the only device in a company that we use all the features. Okay. If I join a company as an admin, so how I'm going to perform a task? Okay. Just now I've given an example. So on a company, like whatever the task which I'm performing as an admin, so company give you direct computer and everything I have to do from here. Even though if I'm an owner, so I have to do all my tasks only with the help of a computer. Okay. So whatever the people work in a company, this is the only device you have to do all your tasks. Maybe you are designing, you'll be using your applications, or somebody wants to access something, or somebody want to make something. Everything will be based on a computer. Okay. So this is compulsory. The next very important requirement for the network is we need operating system. Okay. So anybody know what is operating system? Can anybody define? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So one of the definition is very famous. Like maybe when we have in our school and colleges. So one definition we heard all the time. Okay. So we say operating system. It is a interface between a user and hardware. Okay? But sometimes like we fail to understand this. Okay, so some kind of thing like maybe sometimes we memorize definition, sometimes we know, but we don't have idea about it. Like what is this? What is user? What is hardware? What actually we are going to understand by these definitions? Okay. Now to understand what I do, I just give a small example. Let's say today I go market and I purchase a new computer. I purchase a desktop computer. So can I able to store any data? So once you purchase a computer from the market, is it possible for me to store direct data? Then what we can do? So with our operating system, yeah, with our operating system, what kind of task we can do? Hmm. So without operating system, you can do one task. Okay, when you power on, you can press F2 button. You can go to BIOS or setup mode. You can see computer configuration. You can see like how much RAM you have, how much hard disk you have, what is the name of your processor, what motherboard name. You can see only the BIOS setup. Okay. Apart from that, like when you try to start, when you power on, if you press F2, then it will take you to the BIOS. But if you don't press any key, automatically you will be getting one error, no operating system found. Okay. So if there is no operating system, we cannot able to perform any operation. Means now without operating system, the computer we call it as a useless. Okay. So nothing we cannot do. Even if you want to make a single file, if you want to, if you want to make a single folder, that is not possible without operating system. Okay. So operating system helps you to understand computer. Operating system helps people to perform different tasks. Okay. So the operating system allow a different people to perform different tasks. And as I told you, like computer is not only designed for educated people. It is not only designed for like the developer. It is not only designed for like architecture or engineers. So computer can be used any person in a market. Okay. So operating system, like if I say for a developer, there is no separate operating system. For administrator, there is no separate operating system. For normal people, there is no separate operating system. So operating system will be a same or equal to every person, but the way you start using, depending on the task of a person, he can perform a different task. Okay. If I'm an administrator, what I do based on my requirement, I'll be installing my application, and with the help of that application, I'm going to connect to my servers. Now, if I'm a network admin, based on that, I'll be installing my application, then I'm going to perform the task. If I'm a architecture, then I'll be installing my application, then I'm going to do all my tasks. So each and every person who is using computer, they will be using different applications. Okay. So operating system, the name itself, operating system means whenever you perform any operation may be to perform to create a folder, operation may be to use internet, operation may be to install application. Even if you want to play games on a computer, you also require an operating system. Okay. So without operating system, the computer we call it as useless. Nothing you cannot do. Okay. So what the Microsoft has done, Microsoft divided operating system into two categories. So one of the operating system you'll see in the market, we call it as network-based operating system. In short, in bracket, I'm writing this is so that we can understand that. This is called a server operating system. And one of the operating system which is also available in the market, system-based, which is actually called as a client operating system. Okay. So either you see a system-based operating system, or you can see a network-based. Okay. So the reason like why I have written system-based, network-based, I'll give you the reason here. So now from the market in today's time, we'll be having two types of operating systems. Okay, one is called server operating system, one is called a client. Most of the time, like we heard a word, server client. Okay, so some of the time, like we still have confusion where to use server and where to use client operating system. What is the actual difference between a server and client operating system? Okay, so when Microsoft actually started server release, server operating system, is it coming from direct from the first time when Microsoft introduced first operating system, or Microsoft started releasing maybe after some time? Okay. So anybody remember what was the first operating system introduced by Microsoft? Hmm. Okay. So the first operating system introduced by Microsoft, we call it as MS-DOS. Okay. So it is not compulsory, like whatever you say may be correct or maybe wrong. So why? Because if you already know all these things, then there is no meaning of learning here. Okay. So at least you can guess that you have to do that. Why? Because if you start saying something, that means when you go interview, at least you can say something. Sometimes maybe your point correct, sometimes maybe wrong. Okay, but wrong doesn't mean like, okay. So until you go to work, you will not be successful. So at least you have to say something. Okay. So the first operating system introduced the Microsoft MS-DOS, and this operating system came in the year somewhere around like 85 to 84. So when Microsoft came to the market, even in that time, we don't have any server kind of thing. There is nothing like server. There is nothing like client. So this operating system, Microsoft designed. Let's say in that time, if somebody purchased computer, okay. So what the people is going to do? So when Microsoft introduced, so first he released one operating system from where we can able to operate a device. Device in the sense, I'm talking about this computer. Okay. So when you install a Windows operating system, which is actually in terms of a graphical, so you start using machine, you start making partitions, you can start performing some tasks on a machine. Even in that time, we don't have application, we don't have internet, we don't have a lot of concepts here. Okay. So the technology actually comes after many years. Okay. So when Microsoft introduced one operating system from where you can able to operate a computer, whatever the task you are performing. So previously we used to say computer we use for calculation. Okay. So I don't know like how the calculation was done. So the main thing here, so with this operating system, we can able to perform certain tasks. Okay. So after some time, what Microsoft has done, he realized, okay, I release one operating system from where I can manage a device. I can able to operate one computer where when somebody log in, he can able to store some information, he can able to perform, he can use application. Okay. But after some time, what he has done, now he released one operating system from where you can manage multiple devices on a network. With the help of these computers, now with the help by sitting here, now I can even operate a different machine together. Okay. So from here, Microsoft start releasing a server operating system. Okay. Server is one of the special operating system that is specially designed to operate a network. So server, this is only available for network. This is not for your personal. Let's say if I go market, if I purchase a new laptop, so have you ever heard like somebody using server in laptop? Okay, so we never heard. Why? Because in our laptop, in our personal machine, we'll be having only the desktop or client operating system. Okay, so one of the operating system is specially designed to operate a network. What was the technology that I'm going to provide on a network? That technology will be configured on a server. So server is one of the operating system which is especially designed to optimize the services. Like now on the top of server, we can able to configure some services like Exchange. It may be like you will be having Active Directory. You can have DNS. You can have DSAP. So there will be many services you can configure on a server. Whereas client is one of the operating system that is especially designed to access the services of network. Okay. Example, let's say if somebody is sitting here, or maybe personally, if I purchase computer and if I connect laptop on internet. Okay, so what I can do now, I can able to access all the features. Maybe I can access my website. I can able to access email. I can able to access a different thing here. So whatever the thing that I access over network, how the where actually these services configure. Okay. So when you say like email, so somewhere on network there will be an email server, all the email is stored. I'm going to access all my websites somewhere in network. There will be some web server. All the websites are available. Okay. So these servers are providing a different services in the network, whereas the client operating system we can able to access all these services. Okay. Now, as I told you, so when Microsoft introduced a first operating system, we have MS-DOS. Similarly, the first server Microsoft introduced, I will show you one picture here. So the first server Microsoft introduced, the name of the server NT. NT stands for New Technology, and the first version in server we have 3.1. It was the first version introduced by Microsoft. And when Microsoft introduced servers, from the beginning, we don't have DNS concept, DHCP, even like we don't have AD or all these things. Okay. So coming session, I'm going to show you when Microsoft introduced AD, what feature we have in Active Directory. Okay. So actual technology coming some years later. Okay. So when Microsoft introduced the first server, we call it as NT. And so when Microsoft starts releasing servers, even in that time, the operating system famous according to version. Means the version of this server is 3.1. Okay. After 3.1, the next version was 3.5. Then after that, we have NT 3.51. Then after that, next version introduced by Microsoft, which was one of the popular servers, NT 4.0. In NT 4.0, Microsoft introduced one of the server here that was NT 4.0 server, and the client was NT workstation. Okay. So after releasing, so this operating system released in the year 96. Okay. In the year 96, Microsoft introduced NT 4.0. Then after 4 years, Microsoft coming by a new version from where the complete technology has been changed. Okay. So 2000, even like it was the first server from the Microsoft where Microsoft started giving name to the operating system. Okay. So 2000 server also called NT 5.0. So after releasing like 4.0, the next version was NT 5.0. Even this operating system also represent as Windows 2000 server. And from here, Microsoft started releasing a flavor, meaning previously like we have only server, we have only client. But in server again, now Microsoft started giving some kind of option. If you are starting a small company, then you can purchase this license. If you are having a medium to large scale company, you can having one more option. If you are having a very big network, then you can have a powerful operating system. So according to the requirement of company, now Microsoft planned a different editions on the market. Okay. So when Microsoft introduced 2000 server, the client introduced 2000 professional. Then after 2000, the next version was 2003. In 2003, also Microsoft introduced 4 flavors, which was very famous. Now, one of the flavor was Standard Edition. We have Enterprise Edition, Web Server Edition, Data Center, and one of the evergreen clients that coming from the Microsoft, we have XP Professional. Even XP, it was one of the powerful, or you can say one of the evergreen operating system where Microsoft has done a lot of business. It was success. Even 2003 in history, it was one of the success servers from the Microsoft. So after releasing 2003, next version introduced by Microsoft, 2008 server. In 2008, also we have same flavor, standard, data center, enterprise, web server, and the client was Vista and Windows 7. So as we know, when Microsoft released Vista, why? Because like most of the people only familiar to XP. Okay. So when Vista came to the market, now we have many drawbacks. Like it was not a success operating system. So after Vista, the next success operating system from Microsoft is Windows 7. Windows 7 was very good. Okay, after XP. Then after 2008, next version introduced Microsoft 2012. In 2012, Microsoft has given four flavors: Foundation, Essential, Data Center, as well as Standard. So last time, we talked about this edition. Okay. Whereas in 2016, one of the edition Microsoft has given Essential. We also have Standard Edition. We also have Data Center. And if you are using for only Hyper-V, also there is a separate version for Hyper-V. Okay. But actually, we can say only these three main flavors: Standard Edition, Essential Edition, Data Center. One of the edition we use for a small scale company, whereas Standard and Data Center maybe for unlimited users you can connect on a network. And in 2016, the client that we use, that is the client which is right now running in the market, that is Windows 10. Okay. So after 2016, Microsoft already planned to release 2019. So this operating system already came, but it takes time to implement in a market. Okay. So still no client, but still I heard there will be a client coming to the market, Windows 12. So that will be next client, which is going to come in a future time. Okay. So I want to ask you one question here. What was the first operating system introduced by Microsoft in 64-bit? So what was the first operating system introduced by Microsoft in 64-bit? So in a network, we will need server and client. Both operating systems are compulsory. So one of the operating system we use to provide the services on the network, and one of the operating system we use to access the services of a network. Okay. Now the next requirement we have NIC card or NIC. It is also called Ethernet card. LAN card. It is also called network adapter. So all the names belong to the same component, network adapter. So what is the use of this LAN card? And why do we connect it? So anybody seen the LAN card? I'll show you one picture here. So this is our LAN card, or we can say Ethernet card, network adapter, NIC card. There are many names. Okay. So in today's time, these cards we call it is inbuilt in your machine. Okay. If you purchase a laptop, if you purchase any desktop, by default this option available. Like you can see, this is the option where you connect your cable. Okay. So the main thing is, what is the use of this card on a machine? Just we connect simply, or it is going to play a very, very important role. So anybody know, like, what is the use of this card? Apart from that, now, then what about the cable? If NIC card using for data transfer, then what about the cable? Then why we connect cable? Then what about? So as I told you, like network multiple components help to connect all the devices. Okay, it's not only cable, it's not only computer. There will be multiple components. Okay, like if you see man structure, so we have our hand, we also have our leg, we also have our body. That means all options we call it as complete man. Similarly, like when you say network, there will be some options. Compulsory you need to have that. Okay. So when you say NIC card, the first advantage is okay. LAN card is also called a gate of computer. Okay, and don't get me wrong, even router is also called gate. Okay, but router is a gate of a network, whereas LAN card is a gate of a computer. Every computer has to have card so that it is going to participate on network. Okay, now from switch, suppose I want to connect this computer. So where the cable I have to connect? Okay, so the cable I have to connect only to this card. If there is no NIC card, so this computer I cannot say like uh, useless, but it will be useless in network. Personally, I can use it, but if I want to use a computer on a network, compulsory you need to have a LAN card. LAN card helps your machine to participate on a network. It allows the connectivity. Okay. So here I'm saying the gate. You know what is the purpose of gate? Why do we use our gate in our home? So gate we use for two reasons, not one reason. There will be two reasons. One of the reasons we have, it's used for entry purpose as well as exit purpose. Both purposes are compulsory. You cannot say like only the people are coming. No, the people from home also they go out. Okay. So entry and exit. Okay. So by sitting here, if I'm saying like www.gmail, so from my computer, the request will go to that particular Gmail. Somewhere here, the Gmail is available. Okay. So how the request will actually go to the Gmail? Okay. So from my computer, the request has to be exist. So from Gmail again, you will be getting that page, and that page will be uploaded here. Okay. So how the information, like how the traffic is actually coming from network to your machine. So the complete traffic which is exist or enter on your computer only with the help of this card. This is actually called a gate. It allow the traffic of network to come to your machine. It allow to exist the traffic from your computer on the network. Okay. So the first advantage is it is a gate of computer. The second, very, very important, it with the help of LAN card, now you can have all the machine you can able to connect. It give you connectivity. Okay. So when you say gate, we need to also discuss about the bandwidth. You know how much traffic comes to you? Okay. So previously, when you say like LAN card, we use about like Ethernet. So previously the card support to 10 MB. The speed supported by the card in almost like before 22, I can say like 25 years, 20 years before, the speed supported by the card, it was 10 MB. The speed was very slow. So after that, we have fast Ethernet. If you are using fast Ethernet, like before 10 years, what was the technology available in the market? It was fast Ethernet, and fast Ethernet means it supports up to like 100 Mbps, 100 MB of speed. Whereas today, what we are using, the LAN card which is going to support in today's time, we call it as Giga Ethernet. Giga Ethernet means the LAN card support up to 1 GB. Okay. So whatever the machine that we are using in today's time, whatever the machine that you even purchased before 5 years, before 6 years, now by default you can say now the speed supported by the LAN card is 1 GB. Okay. If you are using i3, i5, i7, even no need to ask anybody like how much your LAN card support. By default, the LAN card having speed of 1 GB. Okay. But this is for the client device. Now, especially like when you talk about the server also minimum. Previously, we used to have 100 MB, but this is outdated in server. In server also minimum started 1 GB, And there are some server available in the market that support up to like 10 gigabytes LAN card. Okay. So if you need more than this speed, means this is related to our Ethernet channel. Now, if you need more than this, if you need a very good speed, then you can go with the fiber channel. Okay, we have fiber optic. Okay, so the way we use LAN card, see, you cannot connect fiber cable to your computer. Why? Because on a computer, inbuilt is LAN card, that is Ethernet card. Okay, if I want to connect fiber cable, for fiber cable you require HBA card. Like here we are using LAN card, we call it as NIC. In fiber channel, we use HBA card. Okay, so this HBA card support speed from 2 GB to up to 16 GB. Okay, so but we are not using here. So this is if you need a speed very good, then you can go with the fiber channel. Okay, so this is our NIC card. So NIC card is very important. So without LAN card, the computer we call useless on network. You cannot do anything on a network without NIC card. Okay, and remember, LAN card is not only available for computer. Whatever devices you are connecting water, you are connecting, if you want to connect server, if you want to connect a printer, if you want to connect a firewall, if you want to connect computers, if you want to connect any devices who is going to be participate on network, compulsory you require NIC card. Okay, so it may be a wire NIC card or it may be a wireless. Okay, why? Because today's time is wireless. So wireless is having, there is a, you can say wireless is inbuilt. Okay, so that technology doesn't require a cable, but that is actually a chip that is by default available in your motherboard. Okay. The next important requirement is cable. So we have a question here like, what kind of cable we use in our network? So when you talk about the cable, like different people have different opinion on the cable. Okay, but I'm going to show you the actual technology here. Why? Because sometimes like when I say cable means we talk about like LAN cable. Sometimes we say Ethernet cable. Sometimes somebody say server cable. Somebody say network cable. Somebody say computer cable. So many people they have different names. But what is the actual name? Let's see. Okay, the actual name of the cable is twisted pair cable. Okay, coaxial cable we use for connecting a star connection to your TV. If you are using TV, then you will use a coaxial cable. So we are not using coaxial cable for connecting all our network devices. Okay, so make it clear. Coaxial cable we are not using for connecting all our network devices. So network we don't use coaxial. Coaxial we use if you want to connect a star connection. Like if you are a TV operator and if you want to give a star connection to multiple people, then you can use a coaxial cable. That is totally different. Okay, so that carries the signal from TV. So the name of the cable that we use for connecting all our network devices, we call it as twisted pair, TP. So this twisted pair divided into two parts. See, I'm saying only the technology here. One of the twisted pair cable name we have STP, UTP. One is shielded twisted pair as well as unshielded twisted pair. So when cable came to the market, first it was STP. Why? Because when the cable was totally different. So after some time, when the technology comes, slowly, STP becomes UTP. Okay. So UTP and STP, we have a small difference. So maybe I'll try to show you the picture also. So previously we used to have STP, but now we have UTP cable. In UTP, we call unshielded twisted pair. And in UTP, we have all the categories. Okay. One of the category, we have Cat 1, we have like Cat 2, we have Cat 3, we have Cat 4, we have Cat 5, like all the categories. So some of the category even outdated. We don't see the market. Okay. So the category that is available for connecting all our devices, we have Cat 5. Okay. So if you use Cat 5, speed supported by the Cat 5 is 100 MB, 100 Mbps. Okay. So instead of Cat 5, which was old cable, we also use Cat 6 cable. Okay. So Cat6 is one of the cables which is going to support the speed of 1 GB. Okay, this is the new thing which is available in the market. Okay, so all this technology comes to UTP, so that whenever you see cable, on the cable there is a print. Okay, it clearly says this is UTP Cat5 or UTP Cat6. Okay, it may be a cross cable, it may be a straight cable, but that cable actually comes to the UTP category. Okay, so don't say like where. Okay, remember, cable is different, wire is different. You know what is the difference between wire and cable? UTP versus STP. Okay, wire means wire carry current, like whatever the current we have in our home, 24 volts, that carry current. If you want to touch, you have to think a lot of time. Okay, but this cable doesn't carry current. If you know, if somebody asking, okay, just connect the cable from my switch to computer, so no need to escape. Don't say, okay, I cannot do that. This is the responsibility of admin. So without having any hesitation, you can directly touch. There is no current here. Okay, so you can easily touch. Okay. So in interview also, if somebody is asking about the cable, don't talk about the wire. Wire is different, cable is different. Okay. So SCP means, see, this is the difference here. SCP, we have these 4 pairs, and every pair is having some cover. You can see this. And UTP means only the cable. There is nothing. So when you open this main cover, you have only pair. In that pair, you will see there will be two main colors. So this is SCP and UTP. So it was old categories, and this is the new thing we have in the market. Okay. So when you purchase in today's time, it may be like Cat5 or Cat6. You have only UTP category. Okay. So coming to the main point, like what actually what is the actual purpose of cable? So the first advantage of cable is cable we use for connectivity. Cable allow you to connect all the devices of network. Okay, you maybe are connecting printer, you are connecting the server, you are connecting router, you are connecting. And remember, we use only UTP cable. Let's say I want to make a network, and here I'm connecting 200 devices. 200 devices, maybe some, maybe I'll be having router, some maybe having, the switches, some maybe having, the computers, laptops, servers. So when you connect all the devices, so connectivity we use only cable. There is no special cable for server. From switch I'm connecting server. There is no special cable. There is no like server cable. There is nothing like computer cable. There is nothing like laptop cable. The cable is only one. Okay. So from switch, when I'm connecting cable. So first advantage is cable we use for connectivity, connecting all the network devices. Apart from that, the main advantage of cable is, see, once you connect, okay, connectivity is there. But what actually cable carry? The cable actually carries the data. Whatever the data comes to you, whatever the data actually travel on a network, this is only based on cable. Okay. So whatever the data which you access over the network, it may be your email, it may be your website, it may be you're downloading a lot of files. Okay. So all the data comes to you only in terms of cable. So until you connect, you will not be having any connect. You cannot able to access anything. So cable is very, very important. So the cable that we use, suppose if I'm using Cat5 cable, the speed will be up to like 100 Mbps. If I'm using Cat6 cable, then I'll be having the speed up to 1 GB. Okay. And remember, bandwidth is based on 3 categories. So you need to have very good switch. You also require very good cable, and you also require the very good NIC card. Okay. If NIC card, suppose today the NIC card support 1 GB. My cable is also Cat6. Okay. But from the market, the switch which I purchased, the switch was supporting only 10 to 100 Mbps. On the switch, it's directly written. So what will be the speed in a network? So how much you get speed here? If my LAN card is support 1 GB, my cable is also Cat 6, that is also support 1 GB, but my switch is supporting only, it allow only 10 to 100 Mbps. So what will be the speed in your network? Okay. It should be 100. Why? Because, yes, even though you have very good cable, even though you will be having very good NIC card, but the switch is allowing only 100 MB. Whatever the data which is come with the help of, why? Because switch is a mediator between all the network devices. I'm coming there here. You also have another requirement. Okay. So over the network, now the net over the switch, now the data will be power to different machines. So switch is having only 100 Mbps. So the speed will be only up to 100 Mbps. Okay. Now the next requirement we have protocol, which is one of the important uh, requirements, and in detail we need to discuss this. Okay. So before we understand what is the protocol, let's see if I give a small example, and all the time I use this example to understand that. Okay. Now let's say we have two persons and they want to talk to each other. What they need? If two persons want to communicate each other, what they need? Any idea? Hmm. 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 Yes, exactly. So the main thing is, in order to communicate, we actually use our language. Okay. Not only a language. Here I have to say a common language. Okay. If somebody, maybe I go China and I don't know the Chinese language, even though I'm available, but I cannot able to communicate anyone. Okay. So whenever you want to interact to anybody, when you want to communicate to somebody, or if you want to communicate, compulsory you need to have a language. Okay. So here the same thing. Let's say now the way we communicate in our day-to-day life. Okay. Let's say I have to make a network of 250 computers, and here I'll be connecting devices. I'll be connecting like server, I'll be connecting routers, I'll be connecting the firewall, maybe I'll be connecting the laptops, computers, printers, all group of devices I'm connecting. Okay. So the way you communicate in our day to day, we actually use our language to understand each other. Similarly, how these devices they understand each other. By sitting on a computer, you are writing www.gmail. So how the Gmail, like how your computer able to understand the Gmail, how your machine able to understand the Google, how your computer able to understand the Facebook. Okay. So what actually happened here? So the way you communicate in your own language. So these devices also use their own language. Okay. The language of the network we actually represent as a TCP/IP. Okay. So TCP/IP is nothing but it is a language. So protocol is nothing but it's a rules and convention from where the devices of network they can able to communicate each other. Okay. So in tomorrow's session, now I'm going to discuss in detail what is the actual use of TCP/IP. Okay. Why? Because this is very important in order to understand any networking course. Okay. So doesn't matter like maybe you learn about MCSE or maybe you start from virtualization. You want to do any networking course, unless until you understand TCP/IP, it is highly impossible to understand any other thing. You cannot learn networking without IP as well. Okay. So I don't want to give only introduction part. I want to discuss in detail. Why? Because IP plays very important role. Okay. So how you give communication, how the machine understand each other, is it a, even there will be a practical for that. So we are going to discuss in detail. Okay. So the next difference between switch and hub, it is also one of the device where you will be using on a network. Okay. So anybody remember what is the difference between switch and hub? So shall I use switch or hub? So shall I use switch or hub? Okay. Now, so normally what happened here, whenever you say network, both the devices we can see. Basically, if I want, I can use a switch and I can use hub. Both the devices are used to connect all the devices of network in a central point. Okay. So there is a switch. From switch, I connect all these devices. If not switch, maybe it's a hub. Again, I do the same connectivity. So from switch, I'm connecting all the devices. From hub also, I'll be connecting the same devices. Okay. But the main question comes here like, shall I use switch or hub? What is the actual between? What is the actual difference between a switch as well as hub? Okay. First, I'll show you what is a switch here. Okay. So you can see here that is like a switch where you can see there will be some ports. Taking to online shopping. So we are not purchasing, just I'll show you like there are, so this is your switch where you can see there will be a port here. Okay. So even though we have a lot of technology available in the market, but still you cannot say, one port you cannot connect multiple devices. Every port, one device. Okay. Now, the main thing, how many ports available in hub and how many ports available in switch, so that we can connect that many devices. So these are the switch. Okay. These are called the ports. Okay. So how many ports we have in a switch and how many ports we can have in a hub? So it may be like Netgear company, it may be D-Link, or it may be like TP-Link, or it may be Cisco, it may be Linksys. There are many companies. So, I'm not talking about the companies here. So if you purchase any company switch or if you purchase any company hub, what is the actual difference? Like first, let's talk about the port. So why actually we give preference to switch? So today, 100% we are preferring to switches. So why we are giving preference to switch? Why not hub? What's the problem? Let's see. So the first difference is compared to hub, the switch has many ports. This is hub and this is our switch. Okay. So the main thing is how many ports you will see in switches and how many ports you can have in hub. So I'm using switch. So how many maximum ports you have seen in switches? Any idea? Or so when you purchase hub from the market, minimum how many ports? The minimum you can have 4 ports. You can also have a hub 8 ports, and there is a hub which is also available in the market. You can have 16 ports, not more than that. Okay. So that means previously we used to say hub is a device we actually use for a small network. Okay. Whereas in today's time, no, it may be a small network, big network, any kind of network we prefer switches. Okay. But in all time we used to say hub we use for a small company and switch we use for a corporate company. But nowadays for each and every network we use 100% switches. Okay. Now when you talk about the switches also minimum having 4 ports. There is a switch where you can see 8-port switch, also available in 16 ports. And there is a switch available in the market, 24 ports. Even there is a switch in the market available, 32 ports, 48 ports. Even there is a switch available in the market, 64 ports. We also have a switch 96 ports, 128 ports. Even there is a switch 240 ports. Okay, and don't think like this will be in our MCSE. We are not going to cover all these things. So just only for your knowledge, I'm showing like when you say switch we are not simply using It has a lot of features. It has a lot of technology. Okay. So there is a switch even I have seen 364, 724, even more than that. Okay. And as I told you, because of ports, I'm not giving preference to switch. I'm not saying here like, okay, we have many ports on the switch. Okay, you can connect only switch. No. Okay. Just only for example, let's say I want to connect 20 computers. So what shall I do? If I want to purchase hub, then I can connect minimum two hubs. Then I can connect all the 20 machines. Or maybe I can have three hubs, 8-port hub, I can connect all the machines. Okay, that is also possible. But instead of that, what I can do, I can connect only one switch. So all the 20 machine I can connect to only one switch. So that means only one central point you can connect all the devices. That is the advantage. Okay. So the second very, very important difference, like why actually we prefer switch, why not hub? Now let's talk about the technology. Okay. So to understand that, first I have to draw a diagram. So this is hub where I'll be connecting some group of machines. So let's say some computers connected. Connectivity should be there. This is hub. Even I also have a switch. On the top of switch also I'll be connecting some group of machines. So this is my switch. So somebody say like broadcast and unicast, that is correct point. So, but how it works, that I'm showing here. This is my switch. Now let's say some machines I have connected to hub. One of the machine like PC1 and another machine I have connected here PC4. Okay. So what is my aim here? Let's say PC1 want to talk to PC4. So how they come, how they talk each other. So basically, like both these computers, they are not connected directly. So PC1 connected to one of the port of a hub, and PC4 is also connected to one of the ports. Okay. So whenever if they want to talk each other, how the communication takes place. Okay. So the request will not directly go to a PC4. Why? Because they are not directly connected by the cable. Okay. So when PC1 want to talk to PC4, the request first it will go to hub. Okay. And remember, hub is a device we actually call it is a dummy device. Hub doesn't maintain any information of anything. Means whatever the port, let's say in a hub we have multiple ports. Each and every port I connected multiple devices. One of the port I connect computer, one of the port I connect printer, one of the port I connect server, one of the port I connect something. So each and every port, whatever the devices I am going to connect, so hub is not going to understand all these people. Even like hub is not going to maintain any kind of database here. Okay. So whenever requests come to the hub always does broadcast. Okay. So what the hub is going to do? Hub is going to perform a broadcast. Okay. The meaning of broadcast is, okay. So broadcast is one to all. Okay. So whenever a request coming to hub, what the hub will do? It will take a request from the port and simply it is going to forward the request to all the things. It's a broadcast device. Hub is not going to maintain any information. So whenever request coming to me, simply, as a hub, I'm not going to understand from where the request is coming and to whom should I forward the request. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, whenever requests come to me, simply I'll throw the request to all the ports. That is called a broadcast device, and that is the main problem in hub. Okay. But when you talk about the switches we call it is an intelligent device. The switch has something called brain. You can say intelligent or you can say switch is a smart device, is a smarter device. Okay. So switch even it is also called as a unicast device, one to one. Switch can switch is a broadcast, switch is a unicast, switch also multicast. Now, but when you compare differences between hub and switch, you have to say hub is a broadcast device and switch is a unicast device. Okay. Now, the same example, if you understand here, let's say one of the machine connected here like PC1 and one of the machine connected here PC10, and both these computers they want to talk to each other. Okay. So here also like these two computers they are not connected direct by cable. So PC1 connected to one of the port of a switch, PC10 is also connected to one port. So what happened actually here? Whenever request comes to hub, the switch is a intelligent device. The switch has something called brain. The switch is going to maintain some kind of database of every device where it is going to connect to certain port. Okay. So the database of switch we actually represent as a MAC table. Okay. So what is MAC address? Like as I told you, maybe like tomorrow's session in protocol TCP/IP, we are going to discuss about the MAC address. Okay. But just only for understanding today. So whenever requests come to the switch, so what the switch will do? Now the switch is going to maintain all the database, all the MAC address. Okay. The switch works each and every task only based on this MAC. Okay. So once you connect, so it will take a request from these ports and it will try to forward to destination port where that machine is connected without disturbing and without affecting to any other device. Okay. So this technology we actually representing as a unicast. Means it will just take a request from one port, it will try to forward to a destination port where that particular device is connected. Okay. So because of this reason, we actually prefer a switch. Okay. Now, apart from that, there will be a lot of categories we have in a switches. So from the market, if you purchase hub, hub doesn't have any category. Hub means we don't have anything in hub. But when you say switch, when you want to purchase a switch, switches have some categories. One of the category in switch we have manageable, and one of the category in switches we have a non-manageable. Okay. So as I told you, like in today's time we use on maximum the switches. So depending on like what kind of network you create, if you are creating a networking company or if you are creating a network for your school or your home network or the colleges network, depending on like where actually you create a network, you have to use this kind of category. Okay. For the corporate network, one of the switch is designed. We call it as manageable cable. A non-manageable cable will be used only for having a small kind of network. It may be your home network or small office network. It may be like, creating a small network for your internet cafe or something. So you can use it. So this switch doesn't have a technology, whereas these switches actually have a kind of some technology. So what's the differences here? I'll show you one thing. So one of the points we need to understand here. So this switch we call from Cisco. See, you have different companies in the market. So this is your catalyst switch. Okay. So the reason which I want to explain here. So how to differentiate between a manageable or non-manageable switch. Okay. First, I'll show you non-manageable switch. So you can see this one. Okay. So this is one of the switch where you can see I'll be having certain ports here. Okay. Every port I'll be connecting some different devices. Okay. So non-manageable has no controlling. There is no security here. Okay. So simply I'll connect the devices and I start using the switch. Okay. But manageable has certain ports. Okay. So here you can see some kind of extra port. So these are the ports. So let's say I'll be connecting some marketing people here. Some of the machines I connected from IT, some of the people I connected from sales. But like that, I connected multiple devices here from different departments. Okay. So the reason like why we use a manageable switch. So this switch is actually depends on administrator instruction. The way you configure, it is going to start working. Okay. Now, even though all the people connected to the same switch, so by default, what the switch will do? Now, the switch can give communication to each and every port. Why? Because one device, all the people like centrally they connected. Okay. But if I want, what I can do here as an administrator, I can able to configure some kind of VLAN. So here I can make separate VLAN. In that VLAN, I can able to have some kind of people or some devices. Only those people can able to communicate each other. Rest of the people they cannot able to communicate. Okay. So because of security reasons, we can able to configure some kind of VLAN. Okay. And the configuration of these switches we can do with the help of this code. Okay, so these switches we call as manageable switches, which are very costly. And these switches you will see only in a corporate network, not in all the if you are if you make a network in your home and office, now you never see this kind of thing. Why? Because these switches are very costly compared to non-manageable switches. Okay, so non-manageable switches are very cheap. Okay, and this is one of the category we have. So the first category in manageable, we have access layer, basic, like we will be having 24 to 34, 32 port switch. Then 48 to 64 ports, you can comes under like distribution layer. Then one of the core level switch, that is where you can see high level security, where you can have 128 port, 240 port, 360 port. Depends. You will be having a lot of categories here. Okay, it look like rack. This is just only a picture, but it look like a rack. Hundreds of devices you can connect only one switch. This is possible. Okay. So because of these differences, we actually prefer a switch. Okay. So we are not using switch only for the port, but because it actually supports some kind of technology. So hub is a dummy device and it is completely outdated. Even in market, I don't see there is a switch, there is a hub available. Okay. So this is our today's session. Okay. So hope you understand. So if you have any question, you can ask me. Okay. So today we stop here. So if you have any question, you can ask me. Okay.